Eto Bernadette is studi East Hamptonia. Zagodnia moi pokasovajam najim drusiam v Amerike kakrasit pasralnoja jajca. This is Bernadette today from the LTV studios. Today we're gonna show our American friends how to paint Easter eggs. I'm here today actually with Matt.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Very, very happy to be here. Natalie couldn't make it, so I'm filling in. I was lucky enough to fill in for the fun episode where we are going to paint eggs. We got a really cool little treat here for you today.
Yes, Easter is coming up, as you all know. I mean, Greek Easter then the following week. We actually have a special announcement, which Matt will put in a flyer. Also, during the show, there will be an Easter egg hunt at the Greek Orthodox Church this upcoming Saturday in Southampton from 10 to 12, I believe. And all the proceeds will benefit the I Love Ukrainian org donation efforts. So I've noticed that through our engagement with local schools and other people in the area, that one of the questions that has been coming up is, can you show us how to do the Eastern European or the Ukrainian Easter eggs? Funnily, Natalie and I have been talking about this for quite some time, and it turns out Natalie actually has never done an Easter egg the way I grew up creating them in East Germany, which is instead of just boiling the egg and then dipping it into coloring, we are really going like all the way, meaning we are emptying out the egg.
Yeah, this is the most intense Easter egg process I've ever been a part of. I barely had the patience for it as a kid, but these eggs are quite awesome. We're gonna show you some close-up photos of each egg. I'm gonna attach it to the video, but these are Bernadette really did a good job with these artistically.
Yes, so we actually brought along some local orchids, but usually I brought along some of my eggs that I've already painted over the last few years. So as Matt mentioned, he's going to add them to the footage later on. And what you end up doing is, and we will do this at the end of the show, you hang them at locally, like traditionally, you hang them on a 4 size. But I didn't want to sneak onto someone's property early in the morning, getting arrested on my way to the show. So I actually ended up buying some local orchids. They're not local. I don't think they're local, but they're orchids that actually really resemble the 4 size in quite a nice way. So those you can actually see in the middle of the table. So what do you need to blow out the Easter egg? Well, through my entire life, and this has been like, I think my lungs, I'm a runner actually.
Yeah.
So I think running came naturally to me from blowing out all of these Easter eggs every single year, which is quite a strain. So what you have to do is, let me take out an egg from here.
I've never done anything like this.
Yeah, so there are several layers here to this equation. First decision you have to make, are you going to buy brown eggs or white eggs? I don't think it makes much of a difference, but I naturally prefer the white eggs because I feel like with the coloring, you have an easier time coloring a white egg than a brown egg, but I'm sure a brown egg works just perfect in the same way. So what I had to do as a child, and I did many years after, you had to poke a hole into each side of the egg. And then you had to literally like put your mouth on it and then have to start blowing. And of course the hole can't be too small because otherwise nothing will ever come out. But it's like, how did Mike say before? He remembers his mom like blowing through the egg with like a really red face. Yeah, that would have been me too. But until COVID came around and we all were so worried about our lungs, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I can't like stress my lungs in a time when my lungs, I need my lungs the most.
It's like blowing up one of those inflatable pool things and you're dying. I mean, it feels like you're dying by the time it's fully inflated, and then your kid just immediately jumps in the pool and you're all like
yeah, and if you jump after, you're just gonna have a heart attack.
yeah.
So I went online and I researched. I was like, there's gotta be something easier, and sure enough, so that was 2 years ago, I came up with this little helper. Here, I'm gonna show it right here. I think people can see it. It looks a little bit like what some people may think it's like a breast pump, but it's not.
Or like a blood pressure pump.
Or something like that. But it's actually called a Ukrainian egg blower. And I was wondering myself, oh, wow, the Ukrainians are really far ahead. Turns out Natalie, who is from the Ukraine, has never seen this before. So, yeah, this is basically what you can use in order to get all the yolks. You have to empty out the egg, because the other part of emptying out the egg and then you dry it and everything is you can actually keep the eggs forever.
Yeah.
The eggs that you boil and just paint, you know, you can't keep those eggs because they're gonna go. I mean, good luck trying.
No, I know. I mean, they're beautiful. You can have them for all time, and you can put them around your house. They're very nice.
It's a real art, I really have to say, and I've done many, and I've given them away to people, friends and family, and they love them because and they are also light enough to actually hang on the forsyth. That's the other thing. Like the ones that are boiled, you can't hang them anywhere, so you're missing out on that beautiful tradition. So today, I also brought another tool. So today I'm gonna show. I'm gonna try at least. I haven't done that in a year. Usually it takes me a little practice, but I brought a big enough bowl so I can create a little bit of a mess. And thanks to LTV to entrusting me in this mission here. So what I brought is also something that I use every morning. I actually boil an egg, 6 minutes. That's my tradition. So to not have the egg explode when you dip it into the boiling water, this is an egg poker. And this also helps with us trying to get a hole in. The other advantage is of having the Ukrainian egg blower and on hand is you only actually need one hole.
Yeah.
So, but this one poker is just gonna, so let me poke this here. Yeah, you can hear it. So this actually is only gonna poke a tiny little opening, and then you can maybe do another one. But what I had to practice doing over the years is, so it's not so easy to just go ahead and use the Ukrainian egg blower either. Like it can be deceiving.
Yeah.
So the first thing that you have to do is, and Matt, you feel free to come over and try whenever you want to pitch in. I felt like I'm gonna leave you up with the painting part later on.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing is, I just like use that sharp edge of the egg blower, and I poke around.
It's like ice fishing.
Sort
where
of.
you poke around the ice to create that hole.
Yes, without destroying it and like falling into the water, right?
And in this case, having egg all over you.
So here,
you can see that.
Because to the breakage point, but again, like it's really, you can't like just smash it on. Like you have to really like be very tender.
Gentle.
Yes. It needs TLC. I actually love that phrase.
Yeah.
Took me a while to look that up. Although there was the band that taught us back then. That was my childhood or my teenage years. All right, so we have a little bit of a hole. And then what you can do is, so here's the tricky part, which happened to me many times, I have to admit. It's always good to have enough eggs on hand, number one. And if you want to make like a big scrambled or a big omelet, go for it.
Yeah.
You're going to have plenty.
Mine as well, yeah.
Because what happens is also, so now you have a little bit of an opening and it fits in. But you have to be very careful on how much pressure you apply on the blower. But you see how it just already brings it out.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I was really worried that, of course, my first attempt is gonna be miserable. This is really our first attempt, like today.
Oh yeah. This is a lot.
We've met at 3 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, no, this is real.
And we have like a whole egg party in the kitchen going on right now, right?
No, this is really cool.
But again, like even if you're going well for a while, and then also what happened to me last year, the egg blower got clogged up and it wasn't sucking anything. So I had to actually go in there and clean this whole thing, though that's actually a good thing to do as well. Let me just do this very gently. And then, once you get a little bit more practice, you can kind of like, it definitely is quicker than blowing.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Because once also like some of the layers come out, it actually starts to float easier. So here we're still floating. So Ahmed, maybe while I'm doing this, tell me a little bit about how you've been spending Easter like as a child. Like what's been like a tradition for you? Yeah,
when I was a kid, we always did we'd go to church in the morning. My mom and dad would dress, little kids up in the cute little outfits, and there'd always be a Easter egg hunt at the church that we'd do after. And I remember one year, I fell and like all my eggs fell out of my basket, and
No,
my big brother took them all.
he did.
Yeah. Obviously, he ended up giving them back, but it was very funny. And you know, we're very typical American Thanksgiving. We would do a late lunch, more of a, you know, 3 o'clock, and do lamb. That's what we would do every year
That is a
growing up.
traditional on Easter, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think we ever had a traditional meal. I have to tell you one interesting fact that you might not be aware of is that when you grow up in East Germany, you're more likely not to have any religion.
Mm.
I actually, because I studied sociology later on at the university, and there I learned that 75% of the East Germans actually don't have a confession, like are not
Oh, wow.
religious, but we're still spiritual.
Yeah.
So there's not all hope is lost.
Yeah, no, it is rather interesting, especially generationally.
Oh, because we also we celebrated Christmas. We
Mhm.
we never gave up on the traditions. I mean, look what we're doing with our
I
eggs,
know, yeah.
right? I mean, it's like, and do you think children stop believing in the Easter Bunny the same year they stop believing in Santa Claus? What do you think, Matt?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's definitely. I don't know how you could accept one and not the other, but you know, the Easter Bunny I always found very interesting because there's obvious connections to the Bible, and it's the bunny itself. When I was a kid, I was very confused of it because I just remember, oh, we're painting eggs today. Okay, it didn't make any sense to me. But I think it's the childhood spirit. The ignorance is bliss. It's necessary, and and that's why you think about it in Ukrainian terms right now. There's kids that won't be able to do this year, so it's to be able to try
with the
their
traditions,
tradition and
right?
keep it going, at least, to be able to understand what their traditions. This is really awesome, and as you can now see, the egg yolk is coming fully out.
Yes. Would you mind handing me a piece of the paper towel there? So what I would do at home is I would then put water inside into the hole and then do the blowing again. I'm not gonna do that here. It's just to get all the egg ports out. Because for preservation purpose for the long run. But yeah, if you want to this is I have to say, I mean,
it's incredible.
this is an engineered
Oh wow.
egg.
Yeah.
It's light, right?
To try to explain this, it's like holding celery, pretty much. It's light,
Yep.
effortless. There's nothing in it. It's very that tool works out great.
It does.
How much longer does it take when you have to blow it?
So I mean, I wanted to be very careful because I didn't want to pop egg after egg.
Yeah.
I only bought 6.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit longer, but not really long at all. When you blow it, it really depends on your lung capacity. Yeah. And you have to make the holes also exponentially bigger.
Now, how many eggs would, let's say you're growing up in Ukraine, how many eggs would you do with your family?
Oh, you mean for a session?
Yeah.
I mean, you do between, I think 10 is a good number, and not everybody uses the acrylic paint what I do.
Yeah.
It's this is really it's a form of art.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
When you do it with the kids, obviously the attention span is much shorter. So it's just they whack a few things, or you just you do one color, or you can still color, put them into a coloring and then put some patterns on it. Some people use little sponges and they create little sponge patterns. I mean, it's there is no limit.
Yeah.
So but the real art part is for me to then, so I put it on here. So I can I don't have to touch the egg. I mean, it's still gonna be a little wiggly.
Yeah.
But then I'm gonna have Matt now do the painting part.
Sure.
So we got if you want to move this over, you can actually do this sitting down. Okay, so here's your egg. And we were thinking for the tradition, I'm gonna put a little paint on there for you to maybe do a Ukrainian egg.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Why don't we do that? I'm gonna give you a little bit of a bigger brush. Oops.
So And the water's for the paintbrush, not the egg.
Yeah, it's for the
Okay.
paintbrush. Because one of the things, I don't use this brush. And then I'm gonna give you some blue.
Yeah, no, this is really cool. I must let it be known I have very little artistic skills,
Well,
so I don't want to.
The flag is pretty simple to paint.
I don't want to offend any Ukrainians.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's yellow on top, blue on the bottom.
I think it's actually blue on top.
Blue on top, yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, good
Just
thing I
like
asked.
our wire here.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And I'm actually have to give you a darker blue. My cobalt blue's out. So it's gonna be a vibrant blue.
All right, let's give this a shot.
Yep, and I'm gonna give you some.
Should I water it first or no?
You could, but you don't have to. The water is more, maybe
Okay.
a little just to have a,
Yeah.
And then let me just open this one.
I can honestly say I can't remember the last time I held a paintbrush in my hand.
Hey, your art teacher is gonna be hopefully watching the show and gonna be like, "This is math."
No, this is a great. You know what? Not for nothing. This is a great activity.
It's actually
If
it's
you
like
have-
it's like meditative.
Or if you have kids that are into art, this is a great thing to do.
Totally. It's just a very personal thing, and it's a great present if you wanna give like a nice bouquet of Easter eggs with one of the flowers, and you can hang it, like you can also hide them in the tulip pot, hang them on there. But again, like the traditional pot is a 4 size, but by any means people can use all their imagination.
Now, who taught you how to do this originally? As I switch back to you for a second.
You don't really. There is not really anybody that teaches you that. Like you kind of like just do it in your family, and then you sort of blend in. Again, like discovering the Ukrainian egg blower was a lifesaver for me.
I mean, you're really good at it though. Like you have, it's very, you have very intense patterns and very, it's very cool. So I'm assuming your mom or your grandmother, or someone had to. No one.
Nope, that actually I started because we never used acrylic paint either. We just used
okay.
like the watercolors, so you would only have like a slight shade. I think that's also where it helps to have the white eggs. But like with the acrylic, with the acrylic, you have to have a lot of patience. And a lot of things I just kind of like,
yeah, that's what I'm learning
colors.
right now.
Yes, I look at the colors and then I look at my eggs and I'm like, all right, and actually what I've done in the past is actually I did like a Miro egg and a Dali egg. I would like Google certain paintings from certain artists and then just kind of like pick out elements from that.
You could start an Instagram.
Yeah, it's just like I could be painting eggs
all
year, but I don't think like my work would be too happy
I think it's great. People love niche art.
Yes, especially I always knew. I've actually considered this in the past. I'm like, I should just make enough and then sell them. Which, by the way, if anybody wants to offer wants to auction and make an offer on the eggs that are already painted, I would be happy to donate them for the Ukrainian efforts.
This is a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah. So what you have to do with all the acrylics, when I look at my egg, you have to color in
I'll
stages.
go back to you on camera.
Yeah, you have to color in stages because otherwise the colors are just gonna blend in. You're just gonna, create a big mush. And sometimes I'm too impatient, and sometimes I have like this egg, for example. I kind of like started painting and then it just doesn't feel right, and then I start like, okay, let me do another brush here. Like, let me cover up.
Yeah, that's where I'm happy right now.
In the end, it still ends up being something artsy. You can actually also, while you're on the top part, you can actually hold the egg because that's going to make it easier to make the even line around. Which also what I would do with the Ukrainian flag on the egg is I would color first the first half in blue, and then I would probably let it dry overnight. And then I would do the bottom. This way I can actually paint the yellow part on it more exact. You're doing a phenomenal
show purposes.
Job, Matt.
I'm gonna give the yellow a shot for show purposes.
Yes, this is our demonstration egg. Oh, actually, you know what? I have done when I really, really hated my egg. It's like it was just not working out.
Yeah.
I actually was able to clean it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all the color. I just washed it. And the color came off, and I just repainted the whole egg because I was just like, no, this egg is not that is not jiving. This is not going on my bouquet.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is fun. For someone who doesn't do a lot of this, I'm having a lot of fun.
Awesome. You can get your hands dirty too.
Here, I'll flip back to me and I'll show people it's starting to get the yellow
Yes.
look on it.
That's a beautiful Ukrainian egg.
It's a lot lighter than you would imagine.
You can actually, so what you would do when it's like too light, you would put on another coat, you know, just like a painter on the wall. Because you see how mine, you can't even see the white part of the egg anymore. That means I probably put on several layers initially. That's why that's kind of like what takes so long. You can't, it's like for this kind of egg, you can't just like do it. Okay, it's Easter afternoon, we're gonna start painting these eggs.
Yeah, it's gotta be like the week of.
Yeah, you have to, this is a planning week of, or like really going into the months of Easter.
Well, I hope I'm not embarrassing Ukraine with this egg, but I am doing my best.
This can also be auctioned, by the way. If anyone wants to offer Matt's anything for Matt's Ukrainian Easter egg, we're gonna polish it up a little bit too. So maybe just to finish up the session, what happens at the end is, so once you've painted your egg and it's gonna like stay on this kind of stick here, very nice.
Go back to you.
Yeah. So now we have.
Hey, it could be worse.
It's perfect. So what you end up doing is, I'm gonna actually put this, I'm gonna put this here because what I'm gonna do, so this will basically just dry on its own here, and we will apply another layer on it and make it neat. But what you end up doing once you're done with your egg, let me actually take the one, funnily though, I think last year or 2 years ago,
that's beautiful.
I actually already made one in Ukrainian colors.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's way better than mine.
Come on. Barely. So what you end up doing is that's like the final part of it. You take a match and you want to break the match in halves. That should just, because it can't be too long. Otherwise, it can be longer, but I think half is a good size. And then you put a thread on it. Like you have to like literally tie it up, make a knot on it and make really sure that it's like tight enough. And then you just put the match inside. And you can even put a little tiny bit of glue on the thread so it doesn't slip off when you put it in. Yep. And then it just kind of like, so basically there is a piece of a match in here, and that's where the thread is on. And that's our egg. So why don't you take one and I take one?
Yeah.
And we hang it on our full-size makeup orchid. And that's gonna be I call it the Eastern European Easter egg painting.
Do you know where this originated? Is this originally from Ukraine, or?
Well, it made me, I had doubts when Natalie told me that she has never blown an egg, which we're gonna have to remedy that. Natalie, be warned, you're gonna have to blow some eggs with me. But yeah, I mean, look how beautiful this floats there on the flower bouquet.
Of course, I don't have the perfect touch that Bernadette does.
No,
but as you see, they're both hanging there.
Yes.
It is very pretty. I mean, this looks, and some people, they would say, oh, it's a little childish. Yes, the way I did it looks childish, but when you have when you have eggs that Bernadette did like this, it's beautiful. It really is. And then it's a great, like I said, it's a great activity to do with your family.
Yes, and then when you have a beautiful table set up with like a family meal.
Oh yeah.
And in the middle, you can put your nice bouquet with these Easter eggs.
Yeah. So if you can, just remind the viewers again about the Greek Orthodox Church in Southampton's Easter egg hunt this